Welcome to the future, you guys. Today, we're going to teach you how to become an internet social media superstar. And on today's show, we're going to have Bonnie Tsang join us. She's got a huge amount of followers, so she's going to get into it. Now, Erica wanted me to warn you guys, Parental Advisory, there's going to be some mild violence on today's show because she's going to keep it real. It's going to get real in a little bit. Here's what I know about Bonnie. She's a photographer, and she's worked with clients such as Gap all the way to Estee Lauder, so she's got some really high-profile clients. She's been featured in Time, The Atlantic, Bon Appetit, and InStyle magazine. She's spoken at the Alt Summit and South by Southwest. Woo! That's impressive. What's really impressive is the next point. She has 7+ million followers on Pinterest and Instagram. She's slaying it. She might even be the queen of Pinterest. I'm not sure. We'll find out in a little bit. She's based here in Los Angeles, so she's joining us live in the studio. And she happened to meet, a couple of notable people. Oh, I don't know. Michelle Obama. What the heck? We're going to talk about that. And if you guys check her out, look at this little stat right here. This is me looking at her on Pinterest. She has 2.5 million monthly viewers. Those are some good numbers. And I looked at some of her photography work, and here's just a little small sampling of the work that she produces. And we know that she shoots on location as well as an amazing studio in Los Angeles. So here she is on set. This is like behind the scenes. Super cool looking. Very stylish and art directed. That's why I'm gonna look a little sharp today. I gotta meet her at her game here. I don't want to be embarrassed. I believe this is in her studio. Is that right, Bonnie?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And this is also in your studio. She's got a really cool board here. Well, you guys, you know what time it is. We're gonna keep it real. We're gonna keep it raw. Roll the titles, Erica. All right, so without further ado, let's welcome Bonnie Tsang into the studio. How you doing, Bonnie?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, I'm the only one who's gonna clap. What up with my studio?
I should clap for myself.
Hold on. Let's do that one more time. Come back to my slide. All right, guys, please help me welcome Bonnie to the studio. Woo! There we go. Yes! All right, guys, calm down. Let's get the show on the road. So, Bonnie, I have a couple of questions, but I'm going to start off with a simple one because I want to talk a little bit about your past. You started out as a graphic designer, and I think through the encouragement of your father, you started shooting photos when your daughter was born, and then you became like this crazy internet superstar. I think you started out on Flickr, if I got my information correctly, and you were able to grow a massive following. Tell us about your journey from being a graphic designer. Where'd you go to school? How'd you do it? Why'd you become a photographer? Give us all the juicy little bits.
So I don't like school.
Okay.
I shouldn't let my daughter know that, but I didn't finish school because I didn't like the system. I ditched school every day. And so I just went and applied for this job. Actually, no, backtrack. I was learning website design, was coding on my own.
Oh, wow.
And I did, that time, this TV show called Charmed with Alyssa Milano, Shannon Doherty. We're in it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love witch stuff. So I used my practice and made my own fan page, and it caught the eye of Alyssa Milano and her mom, and they hired me.
Wow.
To work on websites for them and also develop websites for some of the TV actors and actresses. Mm-hmm. But turning hobby into work, I realized I didn't like it, and I constantly didn't catch my deadline, and I eventually just left and got the most boring job, work at office 9 to 5 for 10 years. And then got married, got divorced, and then during the saddest, lowest point of my life, with my daughter, she was just 1, I somehow started using camera, just taking pictures of my daughter, and my dad, who was forever a photographer, saw something in me, and he's like, here, take this camera, take this lens. And I started taking pictures, and my younger brother and my younger sisters, they're more into the social media at the time. Mm-hmm. And he was like, you should get on Flickr. And I have no idea what Flickr was, but I just started posting stuff. And that time I was going through a divorce. So I was using pictures with the saddest caption, and people start like really getting into it. And they started connecting with me, and I made a lot of friends. I think that's the beginning of learning social media and photography all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. What year was this?
My gosh. Like, my oldest daughter is 14 now, so like 13, 12 years ago.
2005.
Yeah.
My math is good. Okay, great. I forgot to mention at the top of the show, how could we do this if we're talking about social media and growing your social media influence and all that kind of stuff? We do need to mention that both Elle and Erica are here in the studio. Erin's behind the scenes. That's Elle. Elle, say hello.
Hi, you're right, everyone.
So she'll be monitoring comments on Facebook and on YouTube because we're streaming this live. So if you guys have a question, just keep it civil. And we'll address them. Otherwise, Elle has been instructed to bounce you guys out. All right. So I know we were talking a little bit before the show that your career in design kind of took you in a lot of different places, but then ultimately you found your voice in photography, and you used a very sad point in your life. Going through the divorce, you had this 1-year-old, and you start shooting, but you put a lot of personality in your posts. Is that what got people to notice you?
During the Flickr days, yes. To a point where friends from overseas will tell me, like, people are talking about you during dinner.
Oh, wow.
About your life. Because I also transitioned into started dating again, and like people would be like sitting together and talk about like, do you think he's gonna date this guy, or is she not dating this guy? So that was like made me realize the power of sharing and telling your story. It was weird at first, but I continue to do it because I love sharing. I love sharing story. I love sharing where I go to eat, and that's what I do all the time. And then Twitter was in, which was like words. So it's like a lot of random words. And that time I was still working full time at an office while trying to raise my daughter, pay off my debt. But in the meantime, I was on Twitter a lot, and on weekends I would go shoot weddings. And the way to promote and connect with people was through Twitter and social media, continue posting things. And I think with that also made me start to learn about the power of social media, of marketing your work, and get to the right clients. And I never need to, knock on wood, I never need to pay to put ads or anything. So social media is really great for creatives.
So let's get into it. I'm going to jump around on my deck here. So I have some slides here I want to share with you and some tips that you put together. Or I'm going to prep you guys for some social media tips, all right? So here's the shot. Is that your husband?
That's my husband.
Husband number
often
2?
made him do stuff like that.
Yeah. So this is you, and it looks like you're holding up a napkin above as a bounce card.
Yeah.
And I love this because I've seen a lot of your photos before. It's the no look shoot, right? It's like you just hold it up there and like, I got this, guys.
Yeah.
It's super cool how you do that. And I pulled this from some of the materials that you shared with us on what it looks like in camera before and after. So the first thing that I just noticed right away is that I was a little shocked that a lot of your photos are taken with a smartphone. And then it's post-process, and then in the post-processing, of course, it's been framed correctly, and it's been art-directed and styled and all that kind of stuff, but then the post-processing really makes it go from a snapshot to being like very artful. So here's another one, before and after, and you're removing the yellow from the incandescent, the warm lighting there, right? And how are you doing this? What software are you using?
I use SnapSeed.
SnapSeed?
Yeah.
And okay, so then you're just pulling out the yellow, you're adjusting the contrast. It looks like you've added some blue into the shadows, is that right?
Yeah.
And any tips for us in terms of like composition, like why take this shot this way?
Good question. I just love negative space. I love showing just the details, the story at like some corner at the bottom or in the top. I just love the clean look. So that's my look. I always advise people to find their own look. yeah, for me, it's like I even spend a lot of time on straightening every edge.
I see that.
Taking all the yellow out, and then bring out the feature. Like the guy was kind of dark, so I had to bring out his feature, make sure people see that there's a barista there. So for me, it takes like 5-10 minutes, really quick to just process once I practice it every day.
So she's corrected the color, removed the yellow light. She's kind of neutralized the contrast, but then she's been able to pull him out of the background. She's straightened out the image too. And something that I've noticed a lot on Instagram especially is images that are symmetrical like this are very popular. The symmetry adds a little bit of order. So whenever I'm out in the wild myself, I try and look for images that I can compose in a symmetrical way. Here's another one. So again, we're seeing you pull out that yellow. And this seems like you're just at dinner, and this is pretty common. But the way that you've been able to color correct it makes it look like it's daytime and there's a beautiful like lighting somewhere. How were you able to pull this off?
With SnapSeed, you're able to do it section by section. So it's almost like with Photoshop, where I go into each corner and just take out the yellow tone one by one, like every corner.
Oh, wow. So you can do like a soft mask and just isolate something and then color correct this area?
Yeah, and that's why I use SnapSeed for that specifically. It's able to select certain area to take color out or to bring in color.
Very good.
And then I also use VSCO to add a filter to make it more things to pop out.
For those of you guys that don't know, it's VSCO. It's a great app. It's a paid app. I think part of it is free, but to get the cool color correction presets, you have to pay for them. But I love it. I use it. So here's another image here. So this is the last one, and we're looking at this series. And I like that you show that there's a progression here. So here's the original image. It because you have some mixed lighting situations where you're inside and you're looking out into the window. Generally speaking, it's going to be very overexposed through the window. And what you've done is you've color corrected it, you've brightened it, and then you've cropped it. And is there anything else that you've done? It seems like there's a little glow effect there around the chair. Is that right, or am I seeing things?
Yeah, so with the SnapSeed, I'm able to go in to bring out certain features. You can brighten it, you can either make it darker, like for instance, some people don't like the window being that dark. You can go into just the window and darken it, so it's pretty awesome.
Wow. Okay. So I pulled out an article that you wrote on social media tips, so let's get into it. Delivering value to our audience right now. So let's talk about some of these things. So can you expand on these? And you can just talk about it in which way you want. So these are like 6 tips that you give, right?
Yeah, so keep it natural. I've seen a lot of people, let's say they go out to lunch with their friends and no one can eat. Everyone's waiting. And I don't like that. Like, I just want to get it done over with, and I want to eat too, and I hate making people wait for me. So I just quickly snap. Sometimes I even just tell them, just start eating, because I love to capture those moments of like me with my friends being in the community instead of just a perfect shot. But again, that's me. So you have to find something that fit your brand. For me, I think being natural is the best, because when you're showing on social media, especially Instagram, it's about storytelling, about who you are. The more real, the better. Yeah.
Okay. So next up is natural light. You talk about this a little bit.
Natural light. I always ask for window table. And sometimes I even just bring my dish to a window table and just take a picture. And I've even had incidents where I took my friend's dish and put it on the floor for better light. Again, me being a photographer, I just want it to be perfect, because Instagram, for me, it's also my portfolio / marketing tool. So I want to make sure everything looks good in terms of like aligning with my own brand and my own work.
Do you get funny looks from the wait staff when you are moving around? Do you feel self-conscious?
I feel lucky that I'm in LA, that people are not, they don't really care anymore. Plus I go to restaurants so much that I become so many good friends with a lot of restaurants. So they're like yeah, Bonnie, do whatever you want, because I'm gonna tag them. I want to make sure their stuff look good too, so they're fine with me. Like they're like, do whatever you want. So I lucked out on that.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you feel self-conscious when you're doing this? Because when I'm taking pictures, I just feel like, oh, everybody's looking at me like, what a weirdo. Just eat your food already. Or it's like so LA. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I do. I still do. I still get nervous. But like I would tell myself in my head, all right, Bonnie, this is for your portfolio. You're going to bring food, you're going to feed your kid with this. So like, just don't care, because these people are not going to pay you.
Right.
So I try to reason myself and just just quickly take those shots.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, let's get into tip number 3. Keep the background neutral. What does that mean to you?
I noticed that with Instagram, people tend to get drawn to more neutral color, like the really nice white background most people love, a brighter image people love. In terms of like tone, if you have more like a blue tone in it, people are more likely to like your pictures.
Blue tone?
Yeah, so cooler tone instead of a warmer tone.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, those are some of the keep it clean, keep it neutral. However, there are Instagrammers who are really good with amazing color scheme, rainbows of colors. However, those are not my not my brand and not the kind of clientele I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. So for myself, I have to keep it to the way that fits into my brand again. Everything needs to be fit into my brand.
Right. That's perfect. And I think that's pretty consistent, because the next point here is express your true self.
So that's also important. I don't believe in trying to be someone else. I think a lot of people see that, oh, this person do really well, I'm just going to copy exactly what they're doing. You have to figure out who you are and what you like, because your brand voice, it's really important when it's true, because someone's going to meet you in person, and when they talk to you that you don't sound like your Instagram, then they feel really off. Mm-hmm. So I really believe in like being true self, and like just pick a part. We have so many different parts in our lives, so we just pick a part that feel like it speaks to our brand, and just keep going with it and be consistent and just keep talking about the same thing.
Okay, and so what do you mean on the next point when you say don't post randomly?
Don't post randomly.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder where you pulled this from, maybe like years ago.
Yeah, I think I did. I just typed your name into the internet. Whatever pops up in the top 10, that's what I wind up reading.
I think that time when I said don't post randomly, because I think sometimes we're like, today I'm just going to talk about, I'm talking to Chris, and then next thing I'm going to talk about this food, and then tomorrow I'm going to talk about this work. Like there's no system. Mm-hmm. I prefer to have system where, okay, today we're going to talk about, I schedule my calendar day where Monday we'll talk about work, and then Tuesday more personal issues, and then Wednesday would be where I ate. So it's like more in system where people kind of expect to know what you're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. While if you do it randomly, it's really hard for people to find a connection to figure out what you're all about. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense. I think you're talking about what would be the equivalent in periodicals like magazines is to have an editorial schedule. So this is going to be the fall fashion preview, or this is going to be tech gadgets, whatever, so that there is some sense of order, and so it's not just scattershot. Here's something, and it's all over the place, because then it's hard to connect with you, right?
Right, because and then plus when someone is interested in you, they're gonna go look at your profile, and if it's like a mess, then I feel like, especially when what we're doing in our field, for you guys it's brand strategy. For me, it's photography, making sure people look good in their pictures. So if my own social media feed looks like a mess, then it's hard to convince people to hire us, or to convince people that we know what we're doing.
Right.
So I think that's really important, to make sure your first impression, which is your profile, looks really good.
Okay. Last but not least, stick to a unified color palette. What does that mean?
So I mentioned that earlier. Some people are really good with color scheme, rainbow color. Some of them are just red. Some of them are black and white. For me, it's just neutral, natural colors. So that's mine.
Okay. So what we're going to do now is for the next part of this is we're going to get into the critique part. And I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun because there will be two of us beating up on you simultaneously. Now, before we do that, before we jump onto Facebook and then look at your Instagram post, Ella, are there any questions that are coming in on YouTube and Facebook Live that we need to address right now, Elle?
So a lot of people are saying they use SnapSeed and VSCO as well. Do you ever use Lightroom or InShot?
No, I don't.
No. And do you always edit on your phone as you go, or do you go home and think about it and edit and get it ready?
Phone.
On the phone. And someone also wants to know, how do you know in the moment, like, oh, this is a great thing that I could share, or do you always take a lot of pictures and then decide through it later?
I take a lot of pictures and then I edit them down and then I just delete the ones that I don't want. I have to remind people to delete the ones you don't want because so many people keep so many pictures in their phone and it's just crazy.
So you go through and you'll check and edit and delete those, huh?
Yeah, so I take, let's say the overhead food photos. I take about maybe 5 shots and then I pick the best one and then just delete the rest of them.
Okay. So you hear that, honey? You could delete some of those photos. You don't need all the blurry, out of focus ones and where people are like all weird and they're like this.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. Just to let you guys know, on Facebook, there was this post, and the post looks something like this. It says social media. We'll close that. God, people stop talking to me right now. Notifications. Let me turn all that stuff off. Okay. Oh! I lost the page. Anyways, you guys submitted a whole bunch of things, and we expressly warned you, do not submit something to us if you don't want a no-holds-barred, full-contact critique, and so you guys have. So many people keep wondering still, how do I get my work critiqued? You have to pay attention to our Facebook page, which is at The Future Is Here on Facebook. So I'm going to pull up somebody at random. Okay, so this is Meeting Isaac. He's got 226 posts, 604 followers, and he's following about 584. He's from Mexico, I believe, because that's what it says right there. So I'm going to scan now. We're just going to go through this kind of quick. And then Bonnie's going to tell us what is up. Have we seen enough, Bonnie?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do we feel about this?
So if I'm a potential client or a new audience that I'm interested, I scroll down. I first look at the profile, his description.
Okay. Film editor.
Instagram model. So it doesn't really tell me a lot. I'm glad he said film editor. There's no website. I don't know if he even have a portfolio online. Scrolling down, I don't know what he's about. If he says he's like an adventurer, that might make more sense. But then I just don't know what he does. So that's the first impression. What I usually do is I also like to click on someone's website, but he doesn't have one.
Right.
And then if I want to spend more time, I would click on each picture to read his caption. Let's
click on one randomly. I'm going to click on this one with a beard. Let's see what it says. It says beard guy. I don't know what this says. Does anybody here speak Spanish? Elle?
No.
Erica? Where's Aaron when you need him? Okay, all right. No habla español? Okay, all right. So
yeah, it
not
doesn't tell me about him doing film.
Yeah, right.
And I'm not sure about his eye as a film editor because the way he chooses pictures to post, they don't seem very professional.
Right.
So I would just move on. And plus, I want to tell people when you have only 600 followers, don't follow 584 people. For 600 people, I would follow the most 100, but I'll stick to 80 people.
So some percentage. Why is that bad when you have 604 followers and you're following just about as many people?
It looks like you are too easy.
Woo.
And
what does that mean? You're too easy.
So someone mentioned, I forgot where, I think it was South by Southwest when I was doing the talk with Whole Foods, Kate Spade. They were talking about how you're following, the number that you're following, it's a real estate to you. So you have to keep For me, I had to keep it to like around 300. I have about 75,000 followers, so I keep it to like 300 people, because if I follow every single person, I instantly know that this person is not spending time looking at everyone's photo. He just follow for the sake of follow. So what I do, even I would go in to see who this person follow. If he follows all the random people, then it doesn't show me that he is okay. So none of these have anything to do with film editing, film. At least from what I know, I don't think DJ, like none of these says like.
All right, we can click on one and see what happens. Well, we don't have permission to critique his feed, so I'm not going to do that. Let me just go back. Yeah. Okay, so you've given us some tips here, and I will recap these tips if I can remember them while I'm taking notes.
So for instance, like if you go to the Christo, your Instagram feed, like I looked at who you follow, and you follow relevant, related business people, and that's important.
Okay. Oh, I'm following too many people. Darn it. 182 you guys are going to be gone tomorrow.
Yeah, you should go down to 200.
Sorry, you guys. Mom, you guys are gone. I'm going to unfollow you. Okay. According to Bonnie, I need to follow fewer
family
people.
and friends, that's what Facebook are for. Like, Mom,
Right.
I'll see you at Facebook.
No, I know what you mean. Okay. I didn't mean to pull up my thing here, but since you brought me up, you can go ahead and attack me too if you'd like. What do you think?
Well, yours is really great because you not just talk about, you don't just show your work. You explain, sometimes I see you explain your thought process, you explain why you did this design. And it's important in the caption to tell more story than just post and say, this is for this client, this is for this date, and then it doesn't tell me anything. I would love to learn from you, especially for Chris. You position yourself as the expert, and for me, I'm following you because I get to learn from you. And reading these things, your thought process, why you did this, helped me learn a lot, and that makes me want to continue to follow you.
Okay, good tips. Good tips so far. Okay, so let's go back to Isaac. So Isaac, look, if you're a film editor, you're not doing yourself any justice right now. And you're doing what many people do when they create an Instagram account. You just start posting photos randomly. There's no order here. Sometimes it's you doing stuff at an industry event. And sometimes it's a moody image or a random drawing or something. It's all over the place. Yeah, there you have in a crunch bar at work. Like, how does this help to position you as an expert, as a film editor, somebody who's got good taste, who knows how to edit things? And the quality of the images is all over the place. Like, look at this photo here. It's blurry, it's out of focus, it's cropped poorly. It's that warm incandescent light that you're so familiar with. It doesn't come across as being super professional, okay? Let's move on. So that's a lot of people. So if we see another person like Isaac on the social media feed, we'll just say, just remember Isaac, okay? Let's look at another one. Let me pull up this person here. I know Ashlyn, so let's look up Ashlyn, okay? This is Ashlyn Harris. She has 203 posts, 265 followers, and following 182.
Lettering artist, Ian.
Lettering artist and logo designer. She even tells you she's an ENFP. She's a happy human. She's based in SoCal. Hey, look, she has a link here, so we can check that out if we want to, but we'll keep it on Instagram for now, so I don't break anything. So let's look at some of her work.
So her feed looks beautiful with her work. What I would like to do is look at some of what she's saying in her caption.
So let's try one. This is us. Let's try that one. Let's see what she's saying. Okay, thanks for tagging me. This is us challenge. I love this show, so I had to take a stab at it. Okay, I think they would do an amazing job.
Yeah, so I would tell more story. I don't know why she's thanking the person. If she tells a story of what made her design this, it would draw me more into clicking more into her other photos. And hashtag-wise, I really don't think you need to use that many hashtags, especially for a professionals, I feel like. Keep it clean, because you're not trying to be an influencer. You're trying to get clients. So you need to look professional.
Okay.
you have to think about in a way that I'm showing my portfolio. You don't walk in with all these hashtags over your head walking into a meeting.
Right.
You just use your work, which is the picture, and then the caption to really explain why you did this. That would draw more into getting more attention, I think.
So I guess something that I came to the realization too as I was poking around on Instagram, and I did what everybody does at the beginning. You create an account, you post a lot of things that you eat, travel, whatever, your kids' life, and it becomes a really messy account really fast. I went in and started deleting things as an experiment too, just to see if people actually read the post. I started writing, and I realized that my engagement goes way up as I write things, and you would be surprised at how long some of the captions are, and people will read them. So you think Instagram is just all about visuals. It's not. You're only using half of the power of social media. You got to tell your story, share your point of view, let a little bit of your personality out, and think through the lens of a potential client, right? That's what Ashlyn is trying to do.
And I think you have to think about everyone every day is scrolling through pictures after pictures. They're not just looking at your one post. So when you're scrolling, you have to first, the picture need to catch them to stop them from scrolling. And then they're like interested to click the more, because your caption doesn't show all, doesn't show all of your caption. You have to click the more.
Right.
So there's a lot of actions you have to make sure people will do. So first of all, first impression is pictures, and then second impression is your caption.
Yeah.
I think her overall feed is good, but it's still a little messy to me, I feel like. There's another app that I highly recommend that it's an interesting name. It's called UnUm. UnUm.
Okay.
And it helps you post your pictures in advance for you to look at how the grid looks like.
Oh.
Because sometimes what happens is when you look, right now we're looking on a computer screen, but when you're looking at a phone, it could get really messy. So if let's say there's an M with the, M with the Lego, like the M of the Lego is already two colors, and then on the left, there's the black and white sketch. It feels really off.
Right.
So what I would do is remove the Lego and do something black and white, because on top of the M and bottom of the M are both black and white. So now if you make the Lego black and white, then it feels more balanced. So with software like that where you can pre-post for your Instagram, I highly recommend, because it makes, helps you think before you post something.
That's a great tip. And I think you're saying, if I'm hearing this right, is you have to be a lot more intentional in how you post. It can't just be thinking about one post at a time. You have to be thinking about this over the long haul, how these things are going to line up in a grid, how they stack horizontally and vertically, and if there are certain arcs or themes or color palettes that you're exploring. So you have to plan ahead. It's just not about, you said you got I forget what your tip was. Let me see if I can pull it up on my deck here. What the heck did you say? You said something
Don't post randomly.
Don't post randomly. There it is. Don't post randomly, you guys. That's what she's saying. Okay, and so here you're saying this feels a little messy, although overall it's visually pretty cool. Your captions are not terrible, but they could use a little bit more work, and perhaps by applying some of those tips and techniques, you'll start to grow your following, right? And plus you'll be more employable. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to close this one, and we'll go to Alazawi Designs, 190 posts, 101 followers, 91 following. He's a graphic designer, digital artist from Iraq, Baghdad. And direct me if you like to ask anything. You are welcome. Facebook page. Oh, there you go. Okay.
So first thing I'm curious is, I can't tell if she is a freelancer looking for work or just postings, because her link is Facebook. And then she said, DM me if you'd like to ask anything. What does that mean? That's really dangerous on internet, because you're just asking for weirdos to email you asking weird stuff.
Right.
I'm not sure what she want me to ask her. So I'm just curious.
Maybe business inquiries is the word that she's looking for. Right. These look like movie posters that she's designed. So she's a graphic designer, or he. I don't know if it's a man or woman.
Which is pretty cool. I think what I noticed is with Instagram, A lot of graphic designer tends to just post their graphic design work. I think when you have a professional website, that's what that's for. Instagram, it's about connecting with people, sharing your story, sharing your behind the scenes. I would love to know how she created this movie poster. Or, you know, where does she eat? Who does she hang out? So it's a really need to have a good mix of the first guy that we show, he was just all about his personal life, no work.
Right.
But then this is just all work. So I think it's better to find a good medium because when you want to show your professional work, you have your website to do that. You have your portfolio to do that. So
is there a ratio of how much professional work versus personal life that you have?
So that's what the calendar is great for. You say, okay, today I'm going to talk about my work today, and then Thursday I'm going to talk about behind the scene. So it's like a really nice grid of all kinds of different information that I can get to know you without needing to email you or like, hey, can we get coffee? Like, I feel like most of the people that follow me already know where I like to eat, what I like to eat, or like, you know, how do I dress. They know a lot about me.
Right. I know you like really large handbags, apparently.
I mean, when
And
you have
you're very
two
stylish.
kids, you have to throw everything in.
I understand. My wife also has a large purse, but every time I ask her if there's something in that purse that we could use, oftentimes there's nothing that we can use. So let's go. Elle, we got some more questions from the internet?
We do have some more questions.
All right.
So a lot of people are actually saying that they think that using hashtags has increased their followers. So do you think that to get maximum reach, you should use hashtags and then delete them afterwards so they're not on your feed anymore?
The good question is what kind of followers you want. If you put typography and a lot of these typography fans following you, great. But are they going to hire you? No. So to me, I'm really mindful of hashtag. I actually prefer to create my own hashtag. And for sometimes I would use 2 to 3 hashtags that may be meaningful. Right now I'm talking a lot about empowering women, so I would use those hashtags. But to me, I really need to get the right followers because I need the person to hire me. If it's just a fan, which is awesome, which is great, I love that. I love connecting with them. But if I use hashtags, I'm reaching a really wide audience that are not going to hire me, that they're not going to go out and say, hey, Bonnie's great, you should follow her. So for me, I'm really mindful with hashtags.
Okay, so when you said you create your own hashtags, is that you use ones that aren't used very often?
So I use, for a while, I was so into food. So there's a hashtag of Bonnie saying LA Eats. And then I would create Bonnie saying studio. So if clients are interested to see how my studio looks like, they can click on that. And I also have Bonnie saying portrait. I would create those hashtags for myself where my potential client can click and see more of my work.
Okay. And a lot of people would like to know, do you think you could use your Instagram page as your portfolio instead of having a website as well?
I don't think so. To me, where I draw more of my audience and where I can get my clients is through telling story of who I am. Each social media platform is different. So Facebook is more about your news. Instagram is more about on a personal level. And then I know a lot of graphic designers use Behance where that's where you show your work. And then for me, my website, it's where I show my work. And then Pinterest is where I show my taste of things that interest me. So each social media platform is different and you should use it differently. That way you can connect with the right people and more people. And I think a lot of the graphic designers that we see are not having a lot of followers is because people just want to know who you are. And on top of that, yes, they do want to see your professional work. So it's like you have to find a right medium to talk about things.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think the algorithm changes affect your profile a lot or not really?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Let's talk about the OG change.
Algorithm is evil. Okay, but what I've been testing is that because Instagram really wants you to engage. So if you make a point to make comments, like write people back, reply to them, and on top of that, go into each person's profile. Of course, when you have time, take the time to look at their feed, like some of their pictures, write some comments, do Insta stories. So the more you engage, the more the algorithm will see like, oh, this person liked your work because of this, and then they'll show up more on their feed.
Mm-hmm. I think what they're trying to do is gauge interest, and they do that through engagement and make sure like you're not a robot or a team of people just cranking stuff out, right?
Yeah.
They want to know that there's a human being there, and the algorithms are getting a lot smarter and better, in my opinion, because I've noticed now that they have the non-linear timeline and I actually enjoy that. I know a lot of people are angry about that, but it seems like the world is going that way. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube are now going with a non-linear timeline. They're basically trying to predict what you would like to see based on relevancy and the things that you engage with. So greater engagement, but this does take up a lot of time, right? So how often are you on social media yourself?
It's like an outlet for me, so I don't see it as work. Of course, now that I have like also a 21-month-old, I don't spend as much time. But you know, when baby is asleep, kids are asleep, I would go on and make time to reply to DM and like making sure I take care of the people that are following me. But I think I mean, if I'm calculating, I'm sure I'm on social media a lot. But to me, it's like it's part of life, part of work, part of my outlet. So I don't see it as work.
You've integrated into your work life, so it's not really work for you.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy engaging and then like listening to people's stories, so I love that.
Okay, let's keep going on. People are saying like let's more. So let's slam through. We're gonna move a little bit quicker now, right? Let me just recenter this page here. We're gonna go a little quicker. So I'm gonna close this one down. Let's look at this one. This is Menija Lusama. I know I.
Sorry, let me interrupt 1 second. Bonnie, I wanted to ask, is your headphone, are you comfortable? I just want to make sure you're comfortable.
Because you're adjusting your headset.
I think it's my Asian head. It's just slipping off my...
Oh, because I found these if you want to go
Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay.
Sure?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Sorry, interrupt.
Let's keep going on. This is Menija. I'm sorry, self-taught logo designer and brand strategist. I will always appreciate a talk. Currently writing Logo Museum. Okay, 419 followers, very few following, 80 following, so that's pretty good. 39 posts, not a ton. So let's scan through this.
I like this one a lot, first glance. I feel like there are things that I can dive deeper and like get to know what's going on. Yeah, but if he can tell more give me more in the caption, different logo exploration, clothing company. Okay. Yeah, I would love to know his thought process as an artist. But seems like if he's using it as a portfolio, I mean, I feel like that's what he's going after, and I think that's why he's not saying much.
Right.
But again, he should use Behance for that.
Okay. So this is about you understanding the power of each platform and really playing to its own strengths. Behance is really a portfolio site where you're not going to want to share all the behind-the-scenes stuff and talk about what you ate. You want to show your work and you want to showcase that, right? So here, I too like the feed here. Very nice work, self-taught, very good. Overall, the lighting, the presentation is top-notch. I guess you are missing a little bit of an opportunity, we've talked about this already, to add stories and add captions and talk a little bit about your process. And I guess you're encouraging designers, graphic designers specifically, to put themselves out there a little bit, not just to show the work.
Right, because on social media, you want to be either an inspiration or an expert.
Okay.
So either something people can learn from you, or you can inspire people to do something. But when you don't have caption, you're not doing either one.
Perfect. Okay, let's keep going. We have a decent size of live audience watching today. It's 584 last count.
Yay.
Let's see if we can get to 700, you guys. Let us know. And Elle, interrupt me anytime you feel like there's a hot burning question that you want to just jump in there. Okay?
A lot of people actually really, really want to know what your take is on creating a personal as well as a business account. So do you think you should show your face on your business account, or do you think it should be separate?
I myself have two. Only recently I started my own business side of Instagram because I want to share more of my personal journey as a mom. I know a lot of women creatives are following me to learn more about pricing and like how to build your own business. So and thanks to Chris, I've been learning about the value system. So I'm talking more about that. And then I realized that doesn't really connect with my own work and brand. So I started my own company Instagram site. However, when you're just starting and you're freelance, I don't suggest separate them two. I would like to see this person, if a freelancer, I would like to see how he, behind the scene, where you eat, who are you hanging out with, but then what are you working on? More about, a combination of you and your work. Until you have your own place big enough, like let's say the Future, where they need their own, and then Chris has his own. When you're just starting, I suggest to just have one account because you want people to get to know you first, instead of taking time on trying to take care of two different voices.
Yeah, absolutely. Another good question is, how do you think you should get your first 100 followers?
My suggestion is always do not follow anyone yet. Post things that you want to attract the kind of people that you want to attract. And then once you have the first feed fill up, so I think 9 pictures to fill up the first page. At least have 9 pictures of like telling us who you are. Then you go follow the right people. And because what happens is a lot of people miss the point of like they haven't even they only have 1 picture and they already go and follow a lot of people, and what you're missing is the first impression. So create a first impression, go follow whoever you want to follow, and then once they're attracted, you have a bigger chance of them following you back. For me, I've been testing it so many times. I went from doing a wedding photography to doing editorial to doing food to now want to educate more creative women. I'm just constantly changing my social media, and I constantly unfollow people, follow the right people, clean up my feed. So it's constantly changing that. And each time I would get the right clients. So I know this test like proven like always help.
Do you have an easy way to delete things in your Instagram feed, or do you have to go and delete them one at a time?
I go far enough like where I run out of patience.
I see.
Because some people do go down really far and look at all your stuff.
Yeah.
So I would think in their mind like, okay, this person might do this, so I'll go far enough to delete stuff and then just clean things out.
So you'll go down as deep as say 17 swipes on your phone, and then
oh my gosh, more, maybe like down to last 2 years.
Okay, wow. But then you have to manually delete things on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thus far, this is one of the things I think is both interesting and very annoying about Instagram. It's very much a mobile app first. That's it. There's very few things that you can do on desktop, so they don't allow you to do a lot of stuff on desktop, which is super annoying because the simple task of deleting your or cleaning up your timeline should be a lot easier than doing one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's look at some more. Those are great questions. Thanks, Al.
No
and
problem.
Al, I know you have to run in a little bit, so we'll try and get you on. Or if you have anything, just interrupt me, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So this is a unique, or maybe it's unique designs. I don't know. 273 posts, 2,300 followers, and 607 following. Creative UI, UX solutions, helping established brands and startups to disrupt the market. Let's make complex feel simpler. So I get that. And the contact information and probably URL to Behance site. Who knows? So let's scroll down here.
This one's really nice. I mean, because I love negative space. All this nice white space makes the whole portfolio looks really clean.
Yeah.
Interesting caption. Well, I'm not sure what he's trying to say.
Not much, I suppose. Okay, so this is where...
So a lot of emoji.
Yeah. A lot of emoji and not a lot of writing.
Yeah. So this seems like, I'm not sure, I'm just guessing, maybe a very young artist. Because my daughter, who's a teenager, will say, that's a good caption.
I see.
Yeah, it's very, I can tell it's very young. Maybe that's their style.
Right.
Does he make engagement? Does he answer stuff?
Oh, you want to check that out? Let's see. I don't think there are any comments.
Yeah, so make the point of answering people's comments too. Because nowadays people want attention, not in a bad way, but they feel like I'm giving you something, like respond. And if you don't, it's hard to keep people wanting to come back and engage with you.
So he's doing some really good things here. There's the neutral palette that you like. So everything's grounded in this slightly warm gray, and then everything's laid out very simply. There's consistency in terms of like the little design motifs that are added around the edges there, right?
Yeah.
Again, like everybody, tell us your story. The thing about the captions is captions provide context, and context is everything. Because you can look at an image in a gallery and then read the title of the painting and then learn so much, and it changes the way in which you look at things. All right, so good job. Let's keep moving here. And are you okay on energy, Bonnie? Are you okay?
I'm good.
All right. So let's look at Elliot Night Art. 34 posts, 175 followers, 111 following. Graphic designer brainstorming. Ooh, is that spelled correctly?
Nope.
Maybe that's meant to be funny. Identities. Behance. So there's a Behance link there. Okay. Oh, Aaron follows them. Sleepy Castle. Look at that. Okay. So who is this? We must know this person. Okay.
So yeah, this one is very thoughtful, the way he posts his images, which I find it really cool, and the color tone and everything.
Right, so this is his aqua phase.
But again, I'm pretty sure if I click on his Behance link, it's the same work.
Okay, let's do that. See what happens there. But there's not a lot of work here, so this person has not been doing this that long.
So yeah, it's really similar, and I can't tell the difference with checking out his Behance or his Instagram. His or her, I'm not sure.
Amna.
Yeah, so I would find ways to use Instagram where you can create conversation. And it's not just for portfolio. For instance, my Pinterest, I think there's only 10 pictures that I took. I don't post any of my work on Pinterest. It's because Pinterest is mainly for showing my taste and what inspired me.
Right.
And Instagram is more about telling your own story. So
There you
Bonnie
are.
and Clyde.
So let's look at your boards. You have a lot of boards, right? So this is you curating, showing off your taste and what you're interested in. People tune in just to see what Bonnie likes, right?
And even each pin, I don't just randomly pin something. I would look at the profile. If something's off, I would delete the pin.
Ooh.
Do I make sense?
Yeah. So if it messes up your board, then you delete it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I
I like the way you said that. Like, yeah.
we'll
duh.
make sure. Because this is I don't print business cards. These are all my business cards. These are all my first impressions. And so I want to make sure everything is spotless.
Okay. So let's keep rock and rolling here, and let's do another one. Are we done with Amna? Yeah?
Yeah, I think he's great. I mean, again, it would be awesome to show some of his personal life where you incorporate how you do your graphics. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense. All right. Elle, is there another question?
Yeah, so before we move on,
Yeah.
what's your take on using multiple photos instead of posting as a 3?
What do you mean multiple photos?
So, you can upload up to 10 photos in one post.
Oh,
Like a carousel.
Yeah.
so that's great for algorithm because let's say you have 10 pictures within one post. In that day, each time I log in, I will see the same post again, but with the second picture and the third picture and the fourth picture. So your posts stay up.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's great if you want to have your post stay up longer.
And get more engagement because it keeps popping up.
It keeps popping
Yeah.
up again. So yeah, put as many pictures as you want.
Go for it. And what's your tips on Instagram sponsorship and getting hired through Instagram?
Woo, okay. This is my question now. Hold on. Good. Elle, you set it up perfectly. All right, so.
Go for it. Take it away.
Here we go. We're talking about now, this is the channel for business, so this is not just about being an influencer or curating or whatever. I know you're all very stylish out there on the internet. Let's talk about some business here. So, Bonnie, you have a huge following, 7+ million. How are you leveraging this? Like, how does this turn out to be money for you? Can you talk about that?
It's great because right now as a photographer, I don't just, they will hire me to, let's say, hey, we're going to do this new collection. Can you do a shoot? And then we do a shoot and they're like, hey, can you post one picture? Can you talk about it? And I'll be like, yeah, it's this much. So, there's like a lot of, I think it's great for creatives right now because a lot of brands are really needing a lot of content. So for me, it's a great way to leverage that. Plus, the client that I work with, I only say yes to the ones that I really want to work with and align with my brand. So saying yes to them was super easy because I know that their message is already aligned with me. So I also don't mind. And on a side note, like right now I have a baby. So recently I did a shoot for Baby Gap, which they're like, hey, can you, we love your kid. Can you put her in? So she was modeling. And then they're like, hey, we love your Instagram. Can you also put it on your Instagram? So like, it's because I'm always showing my life. People know who I am. People was like, oh, she's a cool mom. She's a creative mom. Like Gap Kids want me to help them promote their brand too. So there's a lot of like give and take where I love doing this. But I would highly recommend sponsorship only if it aligns with what you believe in and your own brand.
So here's what I'm hearing. If I'm the Gap, I see that you're a cool mom, you've got great style, you're a photographer. So not only do you get work, but they're like, will you share some of this? So you're like, yeah, this works for me. I like your brand. I like working with you. So you post something about the Gap on your Instagram feed, which I think you have about 75,000 followers on Instagram. How much money do you make for posting that one thing?
So it's different. Every brand is different. But for something like Gap, because they have, the money, I can ask for more. So it's like ranging from like 5,000 to 10,000.
For one post?
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your ear.
But because I don't say yes to a lot of them, so I don't make that much money.
You're so exclusive. Like, well, that's not right for me. Okay, that's cool. That's fantastic. So there's some people who are going to be crying right now. They're going to be crying because they're like, I don't make $5,000 in a year. And Bonnie's making $8,000 for posting one thing. It's like you're the Kim Kardashian of photographers here. This is fantastic.
But that's why it's important to tell your story and show your taste and what you believe in. And when I look at some of the Instagram where it's just logos, and I'm like, well, I don't know how to align myself with you.
Right. Woo. Okay. Elle had to step out. She did that super smoothly. So I hope we answered your business question. We're on here until about 12:30, guys, so hang tight. Here we go. Let's look at somebody else's work here. All right, let's look at Levi Jones. Levi is a big fan of ours here, so let's look at him.
Oh, he's intern at Farm Design.
Yes. Ooh, you you do your homework.
Hey, yeah, I'm tapping into.
Here we go. All right. So boom, there it is. So you know everybody that's on our show in our universe, our ecosystem. So let's see how Levi's doing.
Really good grid. Again, I don't know who he is other than an intern. A lot of logos. So this logo was designed to convey patriotism, strength. They're three of the brand's core values.
Mm-hmm. And he is pretty good at engaging with people who comment. There's not a ton of comments, right? But it's like a one-to-one almost.
I think my only critique is I would like to know more on his personal side. Mm-hmm. So there was more back then.
There's more down here? No. That's it.
Okay, so I think he's slowly cleaning out and
stop
talking about the personal side, which I actually recommend he should. But maybe the pictures can be improved if you want to do more personal pictures.
Okay, got it. Now I'm going to ask you, Bonnie, since we promised people, you brought the butcher knives, the instruments. I don't want you to hold back anymore. I don't want you to be polite. Tell us really what you think, okay? Because I think some people tune in to see you just destroy themselves or each other.
Man, this guy lives in Pasadena. He can come and kill me.
That is true. So we won't give out your address or your personal phone number until the end of the show. Okay, so let's talk about one more. Desafio Creativo. 61 posts, 56 followers.
Look at, she's cool. Like 0 following. So she doesn't care. She just throws stuff up there.
Yeah.
Again, it's like very just graphic design, very just boring. I would instantly just not even follow or look through what she has to say, or he. Because, again, I'm not a graphic designer.
Right.
So for me, it doesn't draw to me. However, for instance, my example about your Instagram earlier, where you talk more about the reason and the thought process, then I feel like, as a business person, I can learn from Chris as a creative and a business owner. But right now, when you're just posting your work and just talk about, this is for this client, and boring. Like I don't have time. I have a kid. I have 2 kids. I don't have time to, get to know you slowly. I want to just go in, click on it, and I'm like, nothing to learn, nothing to look at, just walk right out.
Right.
The reason why it's important to not just engage your peers, you want to get to know more people, is, for me, I've been surviving and getting a lot of great work is because I got creative art director follow me, I got art director, and I got friends of art director that follow me. So like when they're saying like, we're looking for this person to do this job, and this person's friend might be like, you should check out Bonnie's work. So I've been getting a lot of work that way through word of mouth and like through a lot of different creatives following me. So that's how I've been getting a lot of my jobs. So I don't just, if I only cater to photographers, then my feed is pretty boring.
Right.
I might get a lot of followers. I might get, if I want to be an influencer, I might get a lot of followers through that way. But for me, mainly it's to get more clients. It's my marketing tool. Okay.
We had Andrea Stern, who's a photo rep here, kind of basically pleading with us on the show to help her and her photographers be more active on social. So hopefully, Andrea, you get to watch this episode and give him some pointers, because
I actually love her episode.
Yeah, you watched it?
I did. I watched all of the Future.
Where's my dinger for that?
I'm like prepping myself like what Chris is going to ask me.
You cannot prepare for the show. There's no script. This is real. We keep it raw. All right, but
should I roll the titles?
I think a lot of photographers who are classically trained as photographers, who went to school, who shoot on large format cameras and all that kind of stuff, this whole social media stuff, they're confused by it. Sharing your images and allowing people to look and talk about your process. People are very secretive. They don't want to show too much about what they're doing. There's a whole bunch of kinds of problems. And maybe after watching this, some of my photography friends can be more emboldened to think, wow, not only do I get paid to shoot the work, but I also can get paid to share it on my Instagram or my Pinterest or whatever account that you have. That's super cool. Well, you know what? I want to take a quick break from critiquing this work. I want to go back into my deck. Where's my deck? And I want to talk to you a little bit about things that people are going to ask. Gear. So as a self-taught photographer, self-taught designer, sort of, right? What kind of gear do you recommend? And I love this part because I don't think you even use fancy gear.
Yeah, I'm very simple. Just one body Canon.
What are we talking about
5D
here?
Mark III. And then 90% of my work are shot with my 50 millimeter. And, you know, before getting jobs, I would just educate my client, like, this is how I work, this is what I use, and they rarely have any problems. And a lot of times right now, too, I get hired, for instance, the Gap kits I did were all shot on my iPhone.
Oh, wow.
So because it's for their social media, and they're like, we don't care what you use. So I've been using my iPhone for a lot of my jobs.
What about lighting? Or strobe or anything like that?
Natural light.
All natural light?
Yeah, all natural light. So the work you see are all natural light. I don't set up lights.
Okay.
Come shoot with me and you'll see.
No, that's not the sound effect. I hit the wrong button. Sorry. It's like, there she goes. No lights. Wow. Okay. Okay, so I will continue writing here. Erica, can you help me out? Can you read some more comments? I'm going to just take some notes as we go here.
I am. I'm trying to do both, but I'm trying to focus mostly on the editing.
Okay.
I'm copying some questions.
I can go read
see.
for you.
If
Okay.
people could just actually tag the future so I can tell if it's a question.
Oh, otherwise they're just like talking amongst themselves?
Yeah, otherwise I'm just going to miss it because I'm focusing more on the edit rather than in YouTube. It'd be easier to find the question.
All right, I'm scanning your comments right here, you guys. Let's see here. Here's a question. I don't know if this is a great question, but question, should you use engagement groups for growth?
Wait, what?
Should you use engagement groups for growth?
What's an engagement group?
I don't know. Since you don't know, we'll just move on from that. I don't even know what
Oh my
that
gosh,
is.
there's things that I don't know.
Alexis is asking why you have 10,000 posts.
Why? Because I love to share about my life. I mean, it used to be a lot of food, like where I eat. People love that. So a lot of food stuff. And I got 2 kids. Like, come on, babies get a lot of likes.
They do. So you have 2 kids, but you actually have 1 teenager. So it's really you only have 1.5 kids because the teenager
Doesn't
almost
count.
at this point it's like, Mom, you just get out of my life, get out of my face.
Yeah.
You're not cool.
That's
Well,
true.
does your daughter think you're cool?
Hope so.
Have you guys
I'm pretty cool.
have you done anything together where she's like, Mom, help me grow my Instagram following?
Oh no, she's
No?
very early on. She's already like, stop putting me in your Instagram because people might see me. I need to think about my brand.
I asked that because my little 12-year-old's like, Dad, you need to shout me out. You need to shout me. I'm like, no, I don't just do that. How much money you got? This costs money, boy. I don't just give out.
Well,
this-
see, yeah,
this for
your
free.
brand, it's like cool brand. I would want to be on it too, but I don't think she want to be on my brand.
Okay. Anything, Erica?
Yeah, there was oh, I think you answered it.
Okay, I know what, Bonnie. Let me ask you this question. Can you tell us, like, one really great story about either something that's happened to you that's a nightmare project, or just something that was really just delightful for you, that surprised you even working with a client?
I luckily never have any nightmare, but I do have like work that I didn't want to do. So it's again really important to talk to the clients, understand the projects fully, Instead of thinking, oh my gosh, it's this much money, or like, oh my gosh, this person can be on my portfolio, which is great. But then once you talk more, you realize like you have no control of your creativity, and you end up going in there and just like, man, why do you need me here? Like, so those are jobs that I now very carefully, discuss and like make sure they understand. They understand how I work, because I hate using strobe light. I hate tethering. I don't do tether. I don't connect to my computer. I just like to freely shoot. So like there's a lot of education with my clients. And I think that's important, because I like to go to work happy and like not dreading it.
I'd like to ask you a personal question. You don't have to answer this because we didn't prepare this ahead of time. But we talked a little bit about how much money you potentially can make once you develop an authentic brand and people are aligned with your values, that you can make somewhere between $5,000 to $10,000 per post. What do you charge as a photographer for a photo shoot for one of those brands that you've mentioned before?
I've been learning from you and Blair Enns on charging value. So like now I'm also educating a lot of female photographers, like, hey, come on, you're not just working for 1 hour. So I charge typically a day rate, depends. The lowest would be $8,000. And the highest we went to 20 grand. So it really depends on the job. Sometimes this job is just myself, and sometimes I have to hire maybe an assistant, a light guy. Then that's different.
Okay, so that means that on the low end, for posting something, you could almost make as much money as you do on a shoot. That's what you're saying, right? Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, when it's just myself.
Right. That's fantastic.
Without help, yeah.
Well, I wish you more social media campaigns then in your future, because that's great money. You've been able to leverage this incredible audience.
Thank you.
Since we've been mostly talking about Instagram, is there anything you want to share with us about Pinterest or any other social platforms that you've had some experience or success with?
I think, again, mainly you have to study who are the audience for each platform. Pinterest is a lot of female who likes to, look for inspiration. And so that's what I use that for. I don't talk about my work. I don't talk about my personal life. And Instagram is for that. And then Facebook is for my relatives, and where I post my kids' pictures, and where my husband is allowed to tag me with the baby pictures he take. So it's like different usage, and I really engage in a different way.
Katherine is saying, "Damn, go girl," and then Kai is saying, "Rake in them dollars, girl." It's a lot of encouragement there. Okay, this is a kind of funny question from Ima Show Me. He or she is saying, what kind of natural light do you use?
Just window light.
No, the answer is the sun. What kind of natural light? The sun, but preferably window light, not directly facing the sun, northern light, right? Something like that, soft diffuse.
Yeah.
Overcast days are also amazing for light.
Best.
So if you're living in the UK, if you're living in parts of Taiwan, the lighting is already automatically beautiful. Okay, let's see what else here. Okay, so I'm reading this question raw and live, so hopefully this goes okay. We're a little understaffed today. PRIF Prifke says, yo, I'm living in Copenhagen and don't know how to speak Danish. This means it's hard to get into agency. Learning the whole language seems like a big deal because okay, this is not even a question. Sorry, guys. Sorry, my bad. Candle Flame, okay, not Mac. Are you a Mac or PC person?
Mac.
All right. Hold on. All right.
So that's another thing about working with the right brand, because I got Google reaching out, hey, can you use our Pixel phone? And I'm like, no, my brand doesn't align with Pixel phone.
No.
It's like iPhone.
So you're not willing to change who you are just to take a brand deal?
Yeah, because people would know you do it for money. And social media, people are like really...
They'll turn on you.
They will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm very sensitive. There's a Pinterest board. It's called Color, where I post all the colorful stuff because I'm not a colorful person. But sometimes there are really nice colorful pictures, and I put that in that board. And I'm very sensitive of like if it's like an Asian, and I don't want to have people have a chance to like, what, just because she's Asian you put her in color board, like I don't want. So I'm very mindful of like what I post. Yeah, people can just kill you.
Okay, so this is always a question that pops up all the time. Benny Lee's asking this question, and he tagged us twice just to make sure we'd see it. How do you deal with people stealing your work online, and how do you prevent this?
My rule is if it's a personal account, I don't mind. If they do have a lot of followings, I do write a really nice comment like, oh, thanks for loving my work. Would be awesome if you tag me in it, give me photo credit. But if it's like a small following, just a person just want to share something, then I don't really care. Now, meanwhile, if it's a business, I would definitely DM them and say, hey, you're using this for your marketing usage. So I would be, we could like either at least give me photo credit, like don't just post it as your own. And if I don't hear back, I would make a comment, and then if I don't hear back, I would screen cap it, put it on my own Insta story, and someone will go and like go after them because people just don't like that.
Yeah.
I have something on Facebook. Asked it multiple times, so I'm gonna ask it. It's about the how to use story. Do you use it, and how useful is it? Could you talk a bit about that?
My Insta story is pretty mindful too. I have to make sure I process the pictures before I post. And sometimes I even make a little nice template. I think only if we can go to my Instagram, we can see some of my old
I'll pull it up.
Story. So I want to make sure it's also, again, it's my portfolio, even my Insta story.
Should we do LA Eats?
Yeah, let's do the diary.
Diary, okay. Will this work on the computer? Yeah.
So I make really nice layout to talk about my day, and then use Adobe Premiere and sometimes add videos. And there are apps that are really great. Actually, this app from China called Jane.
What? How do you spell that?
Jane. But make sure you look for one that's like with all the Chinese words. But you don't need to understand Chinese. It's really easy. So they have all these layout that, these are all from that app called Jane. So it makes your Insta story look really pretty.
That is nice.
And it makes, again, for me, it's my portfolio. And even if you go back to the other ones, the other
stories?
So this one is a video. I don't think it's playing.
Oh, let's see. Let me try it.
Yeah, so
this even
app
video.
Jane does this, so it's great. Makes your story looks really professional. Again, you have to think about people are just clicking story after story, and then yours have to stand out.
Is this your new baby?
Yeah.
Cute.
Thank you.
So these layouts, you're typing it in using that app?
Yeah, they have all this layout. I just need to type in the words for myself, and it's super easy.
How are you on grammar and spelling?
There's I use a lot of apps. There's another app called, I think it's Grammarly, which many of my entrepreneur friends use it because they want to make sure their grammar is right. So they type their caption into that, they correct the grammar, and then they post it.
I see. So you are on top of all of this stuff.
Yeah, because people are like, if I have one once wrong spelling, there's all these DMs like, you don't know how to spell this.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Okay, cool. So you are using stories. I'm glad that, Erica, you asked that question. I saw it on YouTube as well. People are asking about stories. So even on stories, you're very intentional. You're using an app called Jane. You're using Grammarly to check your grammar beforehand. Everything looks very editorial. It looks really beautiful. And I can see now why fashion brands like Estee Lauder and The Gap want to reach out to you, because you fit with them, right? Mm-hmm. It feels very consistent and incompatible. This is wonderful. Okay. That's your teenage daughter there?
yeah.
Who's taking this picture?
My husband.
Okay, because I'm like, where's the long arm there? Okay, cool. All right. I see now that I know what you're doing, I can almost kind of feel like, okay, that must be the post about behind the scenes or family or something like that, right?
Yeah, and see that's the engagement shoot I did recently. So I do throw in my personal work, but not personal, my work, but not as much.
Mm-hmm. Is this your home right here?
Yeah.
Is that the bed or the floor, or where are we?
The bed.
The bed, okay. So you have matching blankets and everything's perfectly done, like this perfectly like
Yeah.
Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren home.
Right.
Right.
I am so intentional because I've had past clients long time ago shooting weddings. Someone on his work that he posts are so romantic, so high class. And she told me when I met him, he was wearing these beat up t-shirts and I just couldn't connect and I just couldn't hire him. And so I understand how important it is that not only you show your best, you have to be your best in person too, because people see you and they come up to you.
Dang. Okay, we'll have to clean up the house a little, honey. We'll work on that. My house is a mess. Basically, the only thing that matters is what's in the camera's view. Everything else is like, well, I don't have time for this. There's books and lights and all that kind of junk. I want to take a moment here to actually read your caption, because we've been talking about this, and somebody might be saying, like, God, they're just like harping on it, like a broken record. But here's the difference. So here's, okay, let's do this. First, let's just look at the image, right? The image is her daughter kind of in the blanket, so it's well composed, and the lighting is great, and the sheets are perfect, right? And then you click on it, and it says here, 20 months, more teeth to bite you, more words to reason with you, upset when you're slow at delivery, and laugh when she gets her way. I really think, if anyone, she can take over Trump's job. Hashtag strong-willed child. So this gives you a little sense of your personality. Some of this is about like you just dealing with motherhood and this very playful child that you have. And now you get all this kind of engagement. And now people are going to be talking about Trump or teeth or pure joy, beautiful photo. And that's what you're talking about, right?
Right. It's a risk to talk about anything in politics.
Right.
But to put in the Trump, how I stand, certain clients would be like, oh, I align with her. And I'm sure their Trump supporter would be like, oh, I don't like her anymore. But what I'm looking for are the ones that are aligned with me anyway. So I don't really worry about it too much.
Right. So it's a filter for you both ways to bring the people that see what you see and to keep out the people that don't. And it's okay. You don't. I think a lot of people are too careful not to say anything, to have any point of view. And so at the risk of doing that, they basically get no followers because they have no point of view. They're always straddling the fence.
Right. And I mean, I got people telling me like, oh, pretty sure when Michelle Obama's team invited me, they did all their homework. Pretty sure they looked through all of my social media, making sure I'm not against them.
Right.
Like, so you have to make sure to let people know what you stand for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to do the show recap in a little bit, but I'm going to play a game with you right here. So let me play the game music. Where's my game show music? This is not it. Is it this? No, it's not that, but we'll use that. Okay, so free association. I'm going to show you 5 words. We ask all our guests the same 5 questions, and if you've watched the show before, as you have, honey, you know what's coming.
Oh my gosh, I never watched till the end.
Oh my God! I can't believe you!
Well, you're about to find out.
You've never made it this far into the show, into the live stream. Well, here we go.
I got what I need.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, you sure? Just tell me whatever you want to say about each of these 5 words.
Oh
1,
my gosh.
your favorite band.
My favorite band? My gosh, okay. It was long time ago that I listened to music and like a band. It was New Kids on the Block.
That's your favorite band? Oh my god! All right, 10,000 people just unfollowed you right now.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
Hey, but they're, people that likes New Kids on the Block will follow me now.
Right.
Betrayed.
Okay. Your favorite city to be in?
City, LA.
Just without a doubt, emphatic.
Yeah, I travel so much that I'm like, I love LA.
What do you love about LA so much?
That I can drive, that I can be stuck in traffic and think and listen to podcasts, which on the way here, I was listening to your podcast, talking to Diane Gibbs, where I'm like, oh, I need to write her. She's amazing.
She is super cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Okay. Who's a hero of yours?
Hero?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my teenage daughter, Venice. She is the wisest person. I can ask her anything.
Wow.
I even recently asked her, I'm like, hey, look at my business tagline. What do you think? And the first question she asked was, what age group are you targeting?
I guess the apple does not fall far from the tree. Oh my goodness.
I'm able to talk to her a lot of life issues and even marriage, everything. She's able to help me.
Wow. So you can ask her, is Daddy doing a good job? Okay. Tell us one of your biggest regrets.
Biggest regrets? I don't have any. My biggest thing is I do anything that tend to lead toward regrets, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Really?
So I don't have any regrets.
Isn't it better to regret the things you did versus regret the things you didn't do?
I just learn from it. I'm just like, oh yeah, I did that. Next time let's not do the same thing.
Okay, fair enough. Here's your last one. Tell us a guilty indulgence of yours. Something you feel bad about doing but you can't stop.
Dryers.
Dryers ice cream?
The trios. I can eat a pine at night.
Oh my god, you're just like my wife. I'm like, honey, if you hold the entire container, there's a good chance you actually eat all of it. It's better for you to put it in a little bowl so you kind of ration it off. But she's like, leave me alone.
Yeah, see, you're the very logic thinking person.
Yes.
We're women. We like to feel our ice cream.
You have to feel your ice cream.
I actually do that. I can't eat the whole pint. I actually stop myself.
You're so good.
Well, it's hard to stop.
I should connect with your wife.
You should. I actually asked her to come here to hang out with us, but she's got a lot of things to do before we go on vacation. So we're going on vacation in a few days or something like
Next
that.
time.
Yeah, next time. All right, so I'm going to do the show recap, but before I do the show recap, I want to let everybody know how to get in touch with Bonnie. I hope I get all the spelling right here. So it's bonniesang.com. The T is silent. Mm-hmm. And she's on Instagram and Twitter and everywhere else at Bonnie Tsang. And on Pinterest, it's pinterest.com Bonnie Tsang. So you have a very unique name, so you're able to grab this everywhere, right?
Yeah, every time there's a new social media platform, doesn't matter if it's popular or not, just reserve your name.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Reserve your name. So I think I have one slide here. Where are you? Slide. Okay. Boom. I just want to tell people a little bit about the tools that you're using. You're using the Canon 5D Mark III, your 50 millimeter lens. Is that the nifty 50 you're using, or are you using the fancy one?
The fancy one.
Oh, okay, of course. If you're going to use one lens, make sure it's a fancy one. And she works only with natural light. For those people who don't know what that means, it means the sun. The sun, natural light, guys. And she's only going to be on an iPhone, so forget about Android or Samsung or anything else. Just, it's iPhone all the way. And the apps that she mentioned are VSCO, SnapSeed, and UnUm, and the last one was called Jane, Jane, and has all the Chinese characters. That's how you know.
It's a Chinese
That's
app.
it. Okay, the rest of this, I'm going to freestyle off my notepad here. So she's saying, people like things that are bright and white. So whenever possible, shoot next to the window, even when you're at a restaurant. And you're going to have to get over your fear of being super self-conscious, because this is how you make the money, how you make the cheddar. So you got to get over yourself. People also like cool tones. So this warm incandescent light, that yellowish orange thing that you see in a lot of amateur photos that haven't been corrected, it throws people off. It makes it look like amateur hour, okay? You need to have a system, be consistent, and figure out a schedule that works for you. And what I was hearing there is to be very intentional as to who's your audience, not just that you want to grow an audience, but who's your audience. Is this going to help you? Because there's two things that you want to do. You want to inspire, you want to inform people on social media. So come up with a theme, figure out your editorial schedule, and go with that. You need to engage with your audience, and you need to, if you don't walk away with anything else other than one thing today, you need to take some time to write captions, to tell a story and to express who you are and your point of view, and don't make it just all about the work. Tell a little personal story, get people involved, engage with who you are. And don't be afraid that you're going to be somewhat polarizing. You're not for everybody. It's like if you're for everybody, then you're for nobody. Something like that, right? And I like the way you use hashtags. You're not like just trying to use hashtags to like let people find you because you're thinking about that. And I think the way you're using hashtags is really smart. It's to organize your collection of images. So later on, somebody can hashtag Bonnie eats LA or whatever it is. So then you can see everything about Bonnie eating in LA. So if you're looking for somebody to photograph food, that makes a lot of sense to me. Another thing is don't rush to follow people right away. When you're first starting out and you want to get your 100 followers, create at least a grid of 9, and then very selectively follow people that you think you want to establish a relationship with your peers or potential clients. And what you want to do in all the social media stuff is to create a conversation. And if you're stuck in a traditional field like photography and you're feeling the crush of global market force and you're not loving life right now, maybe you need to look into other things and grow a social media following, because you can apparently do just as well, if not better, doing new media than you are with doing traditional media. Okay, so before we wrap up the show, I want to say thank you. Hold on, my slide's taken off by itself. Okay, Bonnie, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
We treated you fine, right? Because I know there was a little nervousness about it, but thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah! Okay, with that, I'm going to take us out of the show.